everyone. Welcome to Loud and Proud Orlando. It's Monday, March the 2nd, 6:40 p.m. Thank you so much for your support. We're live. We're about 20 people live, so appreciate you. Appreciate your support. Obviously, we come from an L against Inter Miami. This is the first time they defeat the Lions at home at Interco Stadium. Sold out crowd, over 24,453 people. This is the first home loss ever to Miami in the MLS regular season for Orlando. The Lions now are 0-2-0 to start the year. So we're going to be today touching a lot of topics. It's a packed show today, so make sure you're watching. Grab your popcorn or your brewskis, whatever you have around you. We're going to be discussing the 4-2 loss to Inter Miami. We're going to discuss the lineups, the goals, the consistency, the injuries, and the refs. Then David and John are going to be discussing the fan experience at the wall and the Messi stands. And then I'll be discussing what happened with media, and then we'll discuss OCB, because right now OCB is playing a game. I think they're about to play in a few minutes. So, and we have some news about Antoine Griezmann. So stay tuned for LPO. Drop us a comment. Make sure you subscribe. And John, how are you, my friend? How you feel?
Not good. Sad, but trying to be positive. I think I don't. It's not the loss. It's everything else. That's what really bothers me, honestly. So there's just a lot of things I didn't like about yesterday from an Orlando City point of view.
What about you, David?
Yeah, happy Monday, guys. Happy Monday to all of our regular viewers, listeners, the whole 9 yards. I had a great weekend up until Sunday. A good friend of mine got married. Shout out to Andrew and his beautiful wife, Amanda, who got married this weekend. I was having a great weekend until the Orlando City game. And then the first half, I was feeling great. And then the second half, by the end, I was feeling terrible. So yeah, I'm interested to not only go over the tactics and where this game maybe went wrong, but also with John to talk about the experience, because I would say it's up there in the top 5 of probably worst experiences I've had in the stadium. And I think that's not hard to rank that high. So I'm sure John and I will have some unique perspectives from different sides of the stadium, by the way, because for those of you that don't know, I sit on the south end. So I have a different kind of perspective than he does. But yeah, tough weekend to end it for sure.
Just read some comments real quick. Cha-cha slide. I had a person sitting next to me wearing an Orlando City gear and started cheering when Messi scored the free kick. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. Landon says, can't wait to hear your thoughts on fan experience, LOL. Apologies for missing the last spot, by the way. Back in for this one. Thank you. Basically, Keeb, appreciate you. Thanks
Good
for
to
your
see
support.
you, Keeb.
Death Walker says, pretty sure I'm still hangover from last night. Yep, that's right. I got home at 1:45 in the morning, and then I had to wake up at 6 to move my car to the driveway because I have one car garage. And then after that, I had to go to the doctor. I'm okay, guys. I had a 9 o'clock appointment, and then I had to go to work. So pretty fun times for me. Basically, Keeb says, hey guys, as I say to David and IG, I don't even know where this one went to absolute hell. Disheartening to take this defeat will look so good. Yeah, I know. I mean, we'll discuss the text in just a second because I think we have a lot to say about some of the tactics in this game. Booty Sweat 1, 2, 3. It's LPO time on Monday, and Oscar Pereira still our coach. Evening Ruin says Booty Sweat. Thank you, appreciate you. A Nerdy Verse. Did you guys feel a lack of urgency, especially from the defense? There were, and I guess we can start from that. Obviously, this was a game in which, if you look at the players, at least that's what we said. Obviously, the quality and the experience was on the Inter side. A lot of question marks. Orlando came out swinging, in my opinion, and Oscar Pereira played ultra defensively in the first half. But when you play like a Catenaccio style defensive game, you number one have to have the stamina because you have to do it during 90 minutes, and that didn't happen. And then I feel that some of the subs came in and they bombed. I really feel the whole Spicer at top instead of Thiago, even though he scored a goal as a 9, just didn't make sense to me. I'll be completely honest. Also, there was a kind of like a 2 versions of Marco Pašalić that I could tell. A good one with the goal and then a bad one as well. Also, Martino Ojeda played an amazing game. You know, I have to give kudos to Colin Gusky, to Tahir Reed Brown. You know, even though people are trying to dog on the kids, but I mean, they really balled, and I mean, they had a really tough task at hand. And then obviously Maxime Crepeau with a free kick botch. You know, I mean, I think, you know, great game overall during some parts, especially the Messi save. But then in that free kick, he could have done a little more, you know, and he could have done a little more. And obviously, you have to understand he's a keeper now. If you guys are stat nerds, obviously, he has 6 goals in 2 games. So, I mean, if you know, so it's not looking very, very good, kind of. But I do like his leadership. I think he has a high ceiling. So I'm not saying that he's a bad keeper. I'm just saying there's pros and cons. But, you know, again, we expected, and a lot of fans in the MLS expected a 6-1, like a 6-0 or 5-0. I think I appreciate the bite that they had in the first half, but you have to be consistent 90 minutes with that. And unfortunately, Orlando doesn't have right now the I feel some of the bite. There's a lot of injuries, and also the tactics were not good. For starters, let's go, David. What are your thoughts for starters on the game?
Yeah, not to be cliche, but I think the broadcast got it right. Tale of 2 halves was exactly what this team was. I mean, the first half was great. I mean, we came out flying. We knew what we didn't want to repeat, of course, of what the Red Bull match was, and we were taking it to these guys. We knew they had just played a preseason game midweek, so they were going to be tired to some degree because they had just traveled, so you take it to them. Some really nice interplay. I thought Gusky and Reed Brown settled in well to start the half, but I think the unsung hero was Miller. Just stepped up, looked like he was, not out of place at all, knew where he needed to be, understood his assignment. I thought he was the better center back out of him and Brecalo. I just do the entire time he was on the pitch until, unfortunately, he had to be subbed off. But we just started on the front foot. We just understood we had to pin them back. Obviously, if anyone had watched Dane St. Clair the week before against LAFC, he had a awful game against LAFC. And so you knew you could take it to this guy, right? Like, you knew he wasn't at his best. You knew his confidence wasn't high. You really needed to pour it onto him. And this team did that, right? They found opportunities to break forward. You got your DPs involved, which I said was going to have to be a key if you were going to win this game. So you get Ojeda involved, you get Pašalić involved. Got to give Angulo credit. He had a really nice squaring ball to get it across for that assist. I thought he played well. Where to me it started going wrong, and this was even before halftime, is we asked Gusky to play. Gusky was really on Messi the entire game, if you kind of watched him, right? 100%. That was his assignment. His assignment was keep Messi in front of you, make sure he can't move, make sure you can't pivot, all that kind of stuff. Where it went wrong was when Gusky wasn't on Messi. So for things like corner kicks that we were taking, obviously Messi wasn't in the box. He was playing as sort of the first guy ready to break in case it was going to break, which is kind of funny because his legs are basically gone at this point in his career. But he was kind of standing there, and what didn't make any sense to me is they put Angulo on him with another defender back, but then Angulo was giving Messi 5 yards of space. So if Miami got the ball and wanted to get up to Messi, Messi had no challenge or no pressure on him. So as soon as Messi got the ball, he was able to turn and move it upfield and do the Messi things that he normally still can do, right? So it didn't make any sense to me. And that started before the half. And then when you get to the second half, the same thing happened. They still give this guy space, which I don't understand. If anything, play him physical, make Alfaf pull a yellow card out of his pocket, which he was doing all night anyway, so you might as well just give him an actual reason to do it, because we'll get to that later, but Alfaf was awful. I went back and watched the game. By the way, his ref score, for those that are nerds and for outlets that watch it, he had, I think, the second worst ref game of the weekend. I don't have it in front of me, but I believe based on some stats I looked at.
Who was number one? Chris Pensa?
I think Chris Pensa was number one, if I'm not mistaken. But
Alfaf was getting in the way. He was getting in the way on Orlando and on Inter.
Yes.
I was like, bro, are you trying to play ball? Like, do you want a jersey? Like, do you want to actually play? Because he was getting in the way, and it was frustrating for both sides. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, so I'll say to finish up the first half, because I think the second half is another conversation for us that I'm sure we'll get to. But for the rest of the first half, like I said, the DPs got involved. It's exactly what you wanted them to do. Griffin Dorsey got involved where he could get involved. Obviously, his best part is being offensive. He was able to be offensive. Reed Brown was solid. He got burned on a couple of them I don't like. I think the fix for Reed Brown is he's got to be more physical at the point of attack. I don't know. It has to be a coaching thing, because I haven't seen it at OCB. But if he's right on that guy, whoever it was Allende to the first part of it, and then they were moving some people around in the second half. But it was mostly Allende.
Silvetti cooked him.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. If you play physical against these guys, because he's got the size, right? He's like 6'2", 100 and whatever the heck pounds. Like, he's a big dude. Use your physicality against these dudes. That's what Brekalo was doing for 80 minutes until he fell off, and we'll talk about that in the second half. But that's what he should have been doing. But he still had a solid game nonetheless. He has the recovery speed to get back, so he was able to recover on some of those efforts and whatnot. But the first half was exactly what these guys needed compared to the first half that we had the following week. That's exactly the way they should have come out. They understood the assignment. They knew what they had to do. I wish Duncan could have maybe gotten a little bit more involved. Again, he just kind of seemed off, especially in the first half. He just didn't seem to really have it there either. But I think if there's anything to give these guys credit for, is you have to give them credit for the play they had in the first half, because they could have had 3 or 4, honestly,
100%.
if they were able to find the chances. I think that's where it was. The one thing I did like, too, as sort of a last note, Brekalo, I don't know if people noticed this, but Brekalo was kind of playing a little bit higher than Miller. So Miller would kind of play back and get the first ball from either Crépeau or the other defender, and then he would lead Brekalo into space, and Brekalo would progress the ball at least almost to the halfway line and then be able to distribute. That's Brekalo's strong suit. That's what he's always been good at. When we first brought him in, unfortunately, he had an injury when he came in. When we first brought him in, that was his key role at Viking. Not only was he physical in the box on set pieces and all that, but he was very good with the ball at his feet. He's able to distribute and give a nice pass. That's the situations that Poppy should have been getting him in the first week. But unfortunately, I think because his partner was so green, and Iago at the time, you don't have the confidence to send Brekalo forward to go look for those passes. You just say, hey, Brekalo, you got to stay home, and that's not Brekalo's spot. So, again, before we get to the second half, I do want to get plaudits to the team for the first half, because I thought they put together a pretty solid first half for sure.
John, your thoughts on the game and what on the tactics? I know that we were talking about Duncan Maguire, and even though I do appreciate his tenacity for defending, and I think it was a little bit missed in the second half. I mean, that he's not a D mid. he's he's a striker. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on everything on the game?
I think that the first half, it was really good. We're doing everything that we need to do. I don't mind if we are somewhat defensive, because Miami is such a possession team. We're trying to wait to hit them on the counter, and we got that balance right in the first half. We would press up at times. There was energy. Gusky was all over Messi. Crépeau's making saves, and then we're having these counter-attacking opportunities. And unlike the first game against Red Bulls, we're actually using some of these counter-attacking opportunities. And we have, some pretty good options there. I do agree on Duncan. I like that he's so hardworking, but at times he needs to be the one leading that out ball, right? He needs to be further up the field. There was some long balls from Crépeau that he didn't manage to play on forward, right? And we want to see him just accelerate away then into all that space that Inter Miami left behind. But we got the goals in the first half, and we could have had more. I think I really loved the Griffin Dorsey, Martin Ojeda like combination play. That was just gorgeous. I mean, the Martin Ojeda's shot with the inside of the foot just curling is like
Yeah,
it's
that's
absolutely it's a
beautiful.
FIFA freaking finish. You know, it's gorgeous.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Griffin Dorsey at that point on the left wing playing like an inverted like 1-2, and that's the kind of football I want to see, right? That's the soccer we're here to see, and that really only got created because we had like a second phase in the Miami half, right? That's not a transition goal at all. So we proved that we can hold the ball up the field, and we can move the ball around, and we can put the ball in the back of the net. And I think Angulo as well has to have a bit of praise from the first half. He got up the field and actually made a good ball into Marco, who his goal was good, but I think it's really more on the fact that Dane Sinclair just kind of fluffs it. Like I think another goalkeeper probably saves that, but
Yeah.
you know, Marco scores. That's great. Then we get a second one. We're feeling good. Towards the end of the first half, it started to creep in, this thing in the back of my head that I always have when we watch Oscar's teams, which is like, okay, so when are we going to start just like sitting back and not doing this anymore? When is the energy going to drop? When are we going to? And it started almost at the end of the first half, and they started to get into it, get more confident, and our lines drop back further and further, and we regress into our own half of the field. So yeah, the second half, I'll let you go and talk about that, but that's I think it started even at the beginning of the first half is what I want to say.
Yeah, in the second half, it was just a complete collapse. Like, you know, in the 49th minute,
Luis, what is this music I can hear?
There's a music?
Maybe that's just me.
That's not me.
Yeah, I don't hear anything.
Okay.
Oh, it's the OCB game. Sorry, guys, I forgot.
I'm like,
I was like, Luis, are you playing music?
Geez. But I know what I was
bad.
saying is obviously Matteo Silvetti comes in the 49th minute and then you know he hits a long range rocket, and then obviously that was I mean there was nothing Crepeau could do at that point. I think the first two Miami goals, I mean, unless you really like have played like soccer professionally, like even if like I mean there were massive goals, and he had a really great first half. I mean, I think right now if you have to pick who's the best one for Canada, I will say Crepeau right now is making a statement.
Oh,
yeah. Even though you know he got 6 goals scored in 2 games, I feel like you know he's still probably right now the the better keeper. And then you know the quality, you know, it's just seemed that the momentum and trying to play defensively in the second half and kind of wait for Inter to attack, it really took its toll on the team. I mean, because Mascherano, all they did is they did a line of three backs, 2 wings, and literally like completely changed Pareja. Like he didn't know what was happening. He made the sub for Atuesta, which I think he's hurt. So because he should have not come in. I would have maintained Angulo. I would have tried to push for Pašalić. I understand they're trying to make sure that they, you know, the yellow card situation for him and all of that. But I don't think it was the game for Angulo. And then Tyrese Spicer was underutilized, in my opinion, as well. I think it just didn't make sense to put him as a 9. And he was turning over the ball, and then Miami was going forward. So it just looks bad on the player because, you know, you're there, you see it. But you can also see if you've tried Thiago on your preseason the whole entire time as your 9, majority of the time, just put him as a freaking 9, like, you know. Yeah, so it's not good. I think the fans deserve a little better, you know. But again, you know, now we're gonna go play in a baseball pitch, right? So, so we're gonna read some comments and then we'll go and keep discussing what happened in the second half. It says Atuesta contributed to the last 2. Says A Negron. Yeah, you're completely right. Yeah, she should have not come in. Does Oscar know about the Ides of March? Says Frankie Cosmos. Hey, Atuesta, the sideline trash talk was a new level of disrespect. it's part of soccer, but I mean, again, I don't know if you mean the trash talk of between the players. That's usually, you gotta be careful because it's sometimes in the MLS it could yellow card you for nothing as well. I want to know who traded jerseys with the Paul immediate release. I don't know. I didn't see. I know that, and again, we'll discuss in just a second about that. What happened with some of the players. Kenneth Allen says Miller's presence in the backline was huge when he went out. Yeah, so let's just start for that real quick. So he has a knock, and from my understanding, per sources, is a hammy issue. So they don't know. He probably went to Orlando Health today. So I'll try to ask the club one more time, see if they give me any sort of update, or try to see what I can find. But Oscar said, at least to me, that it was like a hammy, possibly. But I mean, the way he commanded that back line was impressive. The way he saved that from Messi to score was tremendous as well. Martin Ojeda, IRL finesse shot, absolutely filthy. I flat doodled everywhere when Ojeda scored that goal. Yeah, that was a good goal. It says Duncan really wants to stuff served on a platter to him. You would think he would have better chemistry with Angulo. Yeah, so what do you guys thought about Angulo? I mean, he was to me, the man of the match. I think without Angulo, those 2 goals would have not come. I mean, he was commanding the attack. Do you guys feel the same way, especially in the first half?
No, he's not my man in the match. I thought he played a better match than I expected. I'm going to give him credit for what he contributed goal-wise, but just like a lot of the rest of the team, he disappeared in the second half. Like I talked about a little bit before in terms of his defensive responsibilities, and this has always been the knock on Angulo. He's great at recoveries. He can chase a dude down and all that kind of stuff, but you don't give 5 yards of space to Lionel Messi. You just don't do it. And he did it the entire second half of whenever he was asked to mark him, which was basically whenever Colin Gusky couldn't. He just didn't play where he should have been playing. And then, like everybody else, he didn't have answers in the second half. To me, I think the best players of the match, to me, it's Martin Ojeda, just because not only for the performance that he puts on the field, but he stood up for the boys throughout the entirety of whatever that shit show was in the second half, especially towards the end of the second half. I think we, and us on this show, have questioned, we know he's more of a silent leader type and all that kind of stuff. That last night, he showed us that he's more than just a silent leader, right? And that's exactly what I wanted to see out of him. I wanted to see the bite, the fight, I don't give a crap if you're the GOAT. I'm going to get in your face. We're going to talk about it. We're going to figure this out. He got in Elfaf's face when he needed to get in Elfaf's face. That's the kind of leader that you needed. And so, yeah, he contributes in the goal, of course. He contributed in a lot of the build-up play. To me, he was the guy that really made all of that pivotal. And I think, honestly, you could throw Nolan Miller's name in the hat before he got injured. I think arguably he was probably one of the better players on the field. I know that's a little bit offensive to Pašalić and Ojeda, who scored the goals, but Nolan Miller kept that back line solid. I mean, he was better than Brekalo, who was next to him, who's an X amount year professional veteran, right? I mean, that's just kind of the way that it all worked out. To touch on the second half a little bit, Luis, when these guys came out, and Mascherano makes the sub to change sort of the formation and what the game looks like, Poppy has to respond there. I don't understand what he's doing, because also I just rewatched the game back this morning, and if you watch it, Miami starts out confused because they don't know where to play with each other, because Mascherano makes this change, and I guess it wasn't communicated well, and you can see, especially on the broadcast, that these guys are not working as one, and that should have been Orlando City's opportunity to pounce and get a third, because if they got a third, I don't think any or most of the rest of this happens. If they get a third, this Miami team is probably sunk at that point. I don't know that they have to fight to get back in it. It's a different ball game at that point, right? But putting that aside, because that didn't happen, when they make the sub, you have to adjust. If you're Poppy and you're looking at it and you're saying, okay, I dominated the first half, we got 2, we probably should have had 3, maybe even 4, we're coming out, I see Mascherano make the sub, you have to start thinking to yourself and going to your coaches, what is Mascherano thinking? What is he trying to do and change out of this game, right? And what he did is he packed the midfield, And then he allowed his wingers to really just go and not have to really worry about or think about defending at all. And that's exactly what they did. And there was no response from Poppy. There was none.
Well,
Zero
there
response.
was a response, and the response was to play more
Pack it in?
defensively.
Yeah.
He should have gone forward instead of hunkering down. I mean,
right. And that's what I don't understand is that you can't bunker for 45 minutes. Like, I don't know
can't-
what the thought process was.
it's impossible.
Especially not against Lionel Messi. That's crazy. That's crazy
Exactly.
that you could do that.
Stamina wise, is impossible too, unless you are like a top European club.
Well, and here's the other thing. Going to stamina, right? We know these guys just played in the midweek, right? So they had the fitness edge. Orlando City had the fitness edge. Why are you not continuing to press and hit them on the counter and keep hitting them? They were going to run out of gas anyway, but you didn't allow that to happen. You let them have the ball, and then you let Messi have the ball, and then you let DePaul figure it out, which he was awful in the first half. Anyone who watched him the first half knows he was not good in the first half. And you let that dude back into the game. And then you give a couple of saves to St. Clair, who starts getting his confidence back, and he starts keeping everything out against us. And then we slowly start to see with the Salvetti goal to start, because I don't blame Crepeau. He couldn't see. He was crowded by his defenders. He wasn't able to get over there and get that. But then that happens. Then there's the cluster F that is Messi messing around with 5 or 6 guys at the top of the box. Nobody can really step or get to him. Nobody really bumps him. Nobody really gets in front of him. Nobody does anything. And then he rips a shot that the GOAT's going to rip, right? Like, I mean, I just don't understand.
Right, it's the they play with too much respect in the second half. I felt not only the tactics were wrong because Pareja should have gone and punished for the third goal, but also, and it sounds so wrong what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it. It felt like there was a toss-up on who's going to get the picture with Messi after the fact and who's going to get the jersey, because there was a lack of urgency. It was a lack of like you said, we're playing a derby. If this is Madrid-Barca, I'm going to try to injure you if I need to, right? Like that type of, I mean, I know it sounds a little far-fetched and a little, but usually that's how you see it. You know, if you Arsenal-Chelsea, you see it in Galatasaray, and, you know, you see it, Besiktas, so you see it.
Rudiger just need a guy in the head in a La Liga game. So, I mean, like, what are we talking about here?
So what I'm trying to say is there was a lot of, I feel like after the first goal, they tuned down. Overall, everybody. You know, obviously the young boys, and again, I do want to say, and I want to give the mic to John. The homegrowns, you could definitely tell they felt it here, like the way they played. Even though 4 goals total for Miami, you gotta give them a little bit of love, you know, especially on how they played. Obviously, some mistakes like the turnover between Gusky and Brown, but overall, I think they played with a lot of cojones, bro. Like they played with a lot of balls, big balls. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, John?
Yeah, I think a lot of it went wrong. Well, firstly, went wrong when, you know, like David said, all the tactical changes, and we didn't react to that. But then they scored 2 goals, and then Miller goes down, and Iago comes on, and I do think Iago was okay. Like, I don't think he was terrible, but I just think at that point it was like then they were even more nervous because we conceded 2, and then we had an injury, and the back line had changed. And I just think we regressed further and further back into the field to the point. And I completely blame Oscar because he needs to be standing on the sideline shouting at them to get up and press sooner. Like, we just couldn't get out. And again, like you said, why are we bringing on Spicer at striker? Like, if you need an out ball, it's not to Spicer. He's the guy on the wing, you know, like that's not. And so I just don't understand when you got Thiago sitting on the bench, why you do that and bring on him. And then I think totally right about the subs that just made us more defensive. Like it's typical Oscar stuff. We look afraid, right? We go up 2 goals and then we panic like, oh no, we're winning. What do we do? Let's regress into our shell. Let's try and contain what we got. And it's like insulting. They scored 2 goals in the beginning of the second half, and he just like, oh, let's contain even more. Dude, we just conceded 2. Like, what do you mean? Like, go attack again. Like, this
You're
is
playing
back
at
and
home.
forth. Where's the freaking, like, are we just gonna lie down and die here? And that's Oscar. That's all he does is like, let's regress further into our shell. Like, oh, I'm not sure about my players, therefore we're just gonna be even more defensive. It's like, no, like, and when Colin Gusky goes down, why do they not bring on Luis Otavio? Like, just to do the same thing. It's like when he gets sent off, sorry. Like, the whole time somebody should be on Messi. That was working in the first half. So why do you then think not having somebody do that or putting Angulo on that is like a terrible idea? And it just went so bad from what, David was telling all you guys.
Atuesta gets an opportunity to be on him, and Atuesta was bad. Like, there's no way around it. He was bad. I mean, he just was. I mean, he's responsible for the 3rd goal that Miami puts in. He's just nowhere near where he should be. He's not marking anybody out. He's not doing any of that. So that doesn't help either. I asked the same question. If Gusky, which, by the way, if you guys don't know, Gusky should have never gotten that yellow card. I went back and watched the play.
100%.
Yeah, that was
the yellow card should have been on Reed Brown because that was where the foul was. But because Gusky was the last one to touch him, and because Messi turned to Alfaf and said, it's this guy, he's the one that did it, he gives Gusky the yellow. And then, of course, he has that breakaway, which that other foul was a yellow. Like, there's no doubt about that.
Messi wants Gusky to get the yellow, right? Because that helps him.
Yeah, and then there's the breakaway, and then Gusky pulls him, and Messi goes down easily because, again, he dove. He went down easily. He gets, and of course, everyone's saying it here, he sits up and he goes, card. It's got to be a card, which he's not 100% wrong, but the first card should have never been a yellow card for Gusky. So Gusky technically shouldn't have been sent off. So, but with all of that, why is Luis Otavio not coming on for Colin Gusky if he's on a yellow? You know that person has to cover Messi for the rest of the game. So, and all Luis Otavio had to do at that point was what? Maybe cover for 30 minutes? And he's probably up for 30 minutes. I get he's a kid, but this kid was playing in Brazil's top flight before he got over here. He played like 20 total games in Brazil's top flight before he came over here in that season.
He could definitely do the same thing that Gusky did for the second 45.
Exactly.
I honestly thought Oscar was going to take Gusky off after halftime, but based on that being like, okay, well, the guy who has to run around and mark Messi can't be on a yellow. So let's bring on the other young defensive midfielder that we have who can do that job. So there's just all the subs, the tactics, the afraid,
and to your point,
the fear that we have as a team whenever we go up goals. Like, I blame all of that on Oscar.
Yeah, maybe he felt, and I know you guys are gonna laugh, but maybe he's like, we gotta give him time. You know what I mean? He's coming off an injury. It's too soon. It's
time
too soon
what?
to put it in.
It's a rivalry game.
Like, maybe he's not well enough, but he's on the bench. What are we doing?
But again, the sense of urgency, guys. At this point, it doesn't matter. Like, you put mano a mano, like position versus position. Don't experiment. Don't put. You know what I mean? Like, I agree with you guys. I think if Luis Otavio, I mean, you're already putting 2 homegrowns against Inter Miami, bro, in a derby, sold out crowd. So what else do you have to gamble? Like, put Luis Otavio. I agree with David there. 100%.
Well, here's the other thing too. He leaves a sub on the bench, so we don't use all 5 subs. So he leaves a sub on the bench, which this game could have easily brought in Taifi. They could have brought in somebody else to come help with it, right?
What the hell?
They don't bring him in. I don't get that.
Sakata.
Doesn't make any sense to me. And then on top of it, I'm sorry, I'm going to go out on a ledge here, and people aren't going to like this. This false sense of anger that he has at the end of the game is bullshit. Like, I'm sorry, but it's BS. He gets mad because after we get the 3rd one hung on us, which he should have been mad before when we got the 2 hung on us to start the half, he then gets mad, and then he gets really mad when Gusky gets sent off, and then the rest of the coaching staff gets really pissed when he gets sent off. But you knew he was on a yellow. So realistically, how mad can you be about the fact that he's going to call a yellow for a foul that clearly pulled Messi back? So it's on you a little bit, Chief. And then the entire rest of the time, Messi starts shit-talking the entire Orlando City bench from basically the 3rd goal on, and just
we knew
gets
that
under
was
his
going to
skin.
happen, guys. We knew,
right? But he gets under his skin, and he's supposed to be the guy that's going to be able to control all this, and he has no control. And again, this really comes down to the point of what I tweeted out after the game, and a lot of people felt this way. Shout out to our friends over at Orlando's Lions Den and Mike specifically, who had to host that, what I'm sure was a very difficult den after dark that they had to handle yesterday. Serious conversations have to be had, and conversations outside the organization have to be had, because you can't go up 2-0 on a rival into halftime and come out losing 4-2. You just can't. This is a rivalry game. It's bigger than any other game you're going to play on your
sold-out stadium as well.
Well, not only the sold-out stadium, and John saying, not only what you just mentioned, but also you're going to face tougher competition. Like, you're going to face equal or better competition, and you're up 2-0, and your tactics are hunker down, wait for them to come to me, and I'm going to counter. But then, it's just, you got to understand also the level of experienced players there are across the pond. Like, Inter has, we may hate them or not like them or whatever. They know what they're doing. They literally, Mascherano is like a vessel. Like, they dominate the tactics there on the wing. They really don't care. So you really have to do better. You know what I mean? So, because when I saw that, dude, I'm like, yo, are we really gonna park the bus minute 50, dude? Like,
I think they started parking it at like 35 minutes, honestly, dude.
The dial went just completely down.
Yeah.
Like, for everybody, unfortunately. Everyone.
And let's touch on this. Let's touch on this real quick, because I think we need to talk about Elfaf. Something, and I don't want to blame. I don't want to blame the game on him, because this is clearly tactics and other.
We didn't
stuff
lose
too.
because of him. We have to say that, right? All the Inter Miami fans think we complain and we always blame the ref, but we complain for a reason.
I went good old pen and paper for this one. So I wrote down all my notes from the match when I rewatched it to talk about what this looks like. So there's a couple things that stick out to me. It all starts early in the game, 13th minute. Falcone flops. There's no contact. I went back and watched it. There's no contact. And that's what starts, right? That's Falcone's game. He flops all the time. He flops everywhere.
I saw that one. That was right in front of me.
He acts like
that was bad.
He acts like his leg is broken. He acts like his leg is broken and all that kind of stuff. It's garbage. Then, like I said, the Gusky yellow card that he gets is not on Gusky. It's on Reed Brown. So him, his assistant, and his fourth official all get that wrong. Don't understand how you missed that. But okay, so he gets that wrong. Then we come out for the half, and this is really, really kind of dives. They basically, what happens is Brecalo gets fouled. There's no card after persistent infringement from Berterame, who's now on his third foul, and they don't call anything, or no card or anything. He doesn't call anything, and then he doesn't allow the team to do the quick restart after it happens, after we had the breakaway. Though he's let Miami do the quick restart 2 or 3 times already, and he doesn't let us do the quick restart. And then there's a couple more. There's like 3 or 4 50-50 ball situations that don't go our way, which, completely, messes us up and all that kind of stuff. And then Angulo gets fouled twice in a row, about 5 minutes apart, and nothing. And then as soon as DePaul, Messi, or Berterame go down, he calls it immediately. And so that's where it all goes crazy, right? And then when you look at the final stats and which cards were picked up and all that kind of stuff, I think we ended up with, what was it, 4 yellow, technically 5 yellow cards, because Gus got 2 yellow cards, 5 yellow cards and a red card to end the game. And what did I say in our preview episode when we talked last week? Elfaf has a common denominator against us. It's like 3 or 4 yellow cards, and if we're lucky, he gives us a red. He finds a way to give us cards. And this guy all night was acting like we didn't exist and everything was supposed to go Miami's way, and he couldn't be more obvious of what it looked like. I mean, especially at the end of the game, it was just like, what are we doing at this point? And the first half, he's in everyone's way. The second half, he's just affecting the game all the time.
I don't think it's rigged. Like, I don't think they're trying to intentionally rig stuff. I mean, I hope it's not, because then, like, what are we even doing here? We should all just go home if that's actually the case.
Let him
just give up, because it's all a farce if that's the case. But I think a lot of it is his incompetence, because he just doesn't see things. Like, he just sees things, and you're like, dude, how on earth did you call that and not the other one, right? And then And then in the second half, I think it's the star power of Messi and DePaul, and we saw it. They did it in the Leagues Cup game where they do it in every single freaking game. As soon as the cards don't go their way or they get fouled, whatever, they're in the ref's face all the time. And it's actually pathetic. Like it's actually like if our players did that, I would be embarrassed every week because
The
it's
national team is
embarrassing.
the same way.
Yeah,
The
he does it
national
with the
team.
national team, did it with Barca, did it with PSG. It doesn't matter. It's like the Messi vibe of like, I'm Messi and I must get my way. And like, how dare this young Colin Gusky try and foul me? Like, but yet, he'll foul somebody and he won't get called. Or the thing that really annoys me is the card thing. And you're totally right about that. And because I even saw Ismail after that go over to the fourth official and they had a conversation. I'm pretty sure the fourth official was telling him, no, you carded the wrong dude. And he was just like, well, I'm not going to admit that. Like Gusky's just off. Like I did it. Like it's done. I'm pretty sure that's the interaction I saw because why else would he go over to the fourth official? And like, there was that lull after the sending off, if you remember. So I don't know. We talked about it last week.
They
The
also
dude
were
is
talking
just
to they
bad.
were also talking to the bench after that as well.
too,
So because the fourth official Mendoza got an earful.
And that is another thing why I say pro is crap. And they should not get anything near international competitions ever. For all kinds. VAR is supposed to tell you messed up as well. You had a freaking thing.
Well, we know who the VAR guy was, right? He's also
right. VAR is supposed to tell you, hey, dude, the wrong card. Bro, it happens in the freaking Peruvian league. In the Peruvian league, man. And then there's been times, okay, stop the game. Wrong call. Takes the red out. Sorry. Yellow. They do. It's common. Why? Where's the VAR? Like you see, so I think what you say, John, is on spot on. Pro,
like that was never a free kick for that final Messi goal.
Exactly. It's incompetence. At that point, it is incompetence. Let's read some comments real quick. Basically, Keith, we need to start launching official investigations on officiating because I've seen better refs at Sunday League in high school. Well, we'll see. I mean, I think even the announcer said you can't call that foul without giving the second yellow. Like, why not? Ishmael didn't seem bad until 40th minute when Messi and DePaul yelled. I'm not going to give you your jersey, bro.
Except he was dapping up Miami coaches pregame, so there's that.
Did the DePaul flop on the did DePaul flop on the Dorsey yellow? Yes.
Yep.
DePaul flopped about every 10 minutes, I think.
And guys, we knew this was going to happen. I mean, they were going to do that because also they're getting tired. And that's what John and David are saying. Urgency. Where was the urgency when it comes to the tactics to get that third goal? That it really would have changed the game. If Orlando would have gone in minute 55, would have gotten a third goal, we would have been talking about maybe a 3-2 Orlando or a 3-1.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't even know if it's 2. I think this team at that point probably cruises to a win.
Yeah, 100%. Are the rumors that Griezmann doesn't want to come now? Says we'll discuss in just a second. Yes. So let's go to, with all that, and we already, I think, spent a lot of time in the tactics and what happened, fan experience. I heard a lot of things.
I got one more thing, Luis, before we go on. We were talking about in the comments. I'm seeing a pattern here, right? Preseason, the first 2 games, it's not the pitch this year because that has a brand new perfect
100%.
pitch. I know people are joking about that in the comments, but last year it was the pitch.
Yeah.
I think we have a problem with our fitness coaches and the training that they're doing and the recovery. There's something going on here because
100%.
We started this season. We're like down 6-7 players already. Like that's not normal. You shouldn't be starting a season with this many injuries, this many guys that have got, little tweaks and things here and there, or full, the Wilder thing. That's probably the only one I'm like, all right, well, that's just unlucky, right? But a lot of this other stuff, I feel like
the
we're just
Miller
not preparing well
situation.
enough in preseason because we shouldn't have this many injuries this early. I just think it's, I'm not a physiotherapist myself. I'm not an athletic trainer, but I'm sure Luis and David would agree. Like from all the years of watching soccer, I've never seen a season start out with this many injuries already. So I think at some point we have to question, is there an issue there? Do we have a problem with the way we're handling and training, or something in the way that we're developing our players and the amount of minutes they're getting to prepare for games or not? Cool down, who knows? There could be something that we're not doing right, because that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's you make a great point. I believe they changed somebody in there. They gotta definitely revise that, because it is apparent to me. You got the Wilder, you got Nolan, you have a lot of injuries. Ojeda couldn't, like, he wasn't the same in the second half. He pushed as much as he could, but I mean, physically, you could see, especially at the end of the game, he came out a little wonky, like kind of like walking kind of weird. Um, yeah, yeah. So let's read some comments. They flopped all over the field. Says, "Sweet tea, please. I'm worried the princesses might have bruised their tender lady parts." There you go. Kenneth Allen. So, do I know personally from sources they don't pay real a physical therapist? They're utilizing students that are training for it. Is that true? Well, if
I
that's
have no idea if that's true.
well,
I know
if
there's Orlando health
that's
staff that are officially assigned to Orlando
right,
City, so they're
Well, and
like,
don't forget,
trained doctors.
we lost our strength and conditioning coach earlier this season. That was the other Basan brother that left.
yeah,
And then there was an interim guy that was there, and I apologize that I don't remember his name, but in the press release when the Basan brother left, they put in there who was going to be interim, but I don't remember them hiring another coach to take that over after the interim guy. So I don't know if it's still the interim guy and they haven't really hired somebody.
They might not have announced it. It's just an internal
yeah,
hire.
it hasn't been announced, but I mean, it is a good point.
Surely we have one. That would be insane not to have
Yeah,
one
and
at the beginning of the season.
it'd be insane to use interns. I mean, it'll be disgraceful. Like that'll be,
if that is true, that's crazy.
that should not happen. I don't think Orlando City is doing that. But again, this Mark Rodriguez, it says 2018 all over again. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's a 2018 over again, but I think if we lose the next game, we may be starting bad, really bad. We may be losing a lot of games.
Sasha Kleshin isn't our captain. We can take some solace in that.
Yeah. Sitch, read my comments. There you go, Sitch. What's up, my friend? Good to see you. Were the Wills really taking pictures of Messi and Cody? Well, we'll talk in just a second. Then we need to start launching official investigation, officiating, blah, blah, blah. More comments is here. Duncan is a sub at best, is A. Negron. Adriana Camarine says, I repeat, the problem is not the players. There you go. Yeah, I mean, I think now you can definitely, especially on the last game, some of the tactics were wonky, and also when you hunker down like that, and then also the players just they're doing what they're told, but you also have to put them in the right positions to succeed. And I felt like the whole Thiago thing, playing the Thiago coming in late sub, and then what's his name? Spicer coming and playing at 9. I was like, what the hell are you doing there, man? There's a twist. It's a hilarious player to give the longest guaranteed contract to. There you go. Yeah, and he's injured too. I heard he has a
he was coming back, right? So I was counting up. I think we've got like 6 or 7 now, including the SEIs.
Yeah, insane. Now, another player, and Kenneth Allen brings a good point. If you wanted somebody like Duncan, Ellis, you had Ellis right there. You know what I mean?
David,
so
what do you think? You think Ellis or like Harvey, like anybody?
Harvey?
I mean, my first one off the bench is Thiago. I think he changes the game. You just saw him score a goal in the first game, so why not ride the hot hand and let him go do that? And then if for some reason he's not changing the game when that happens, why don't you then pivot to say, okay, let's bring Justin Ellis on. We'll kick Thiago out to a wing like Thiago ended up on anyway, and then let these two dudes just run for days, because the one thing that they do have is they're running for days. If anyone's watching the OCB game on the side, which I know John and I are right now, Justin Ellis has literally been running the entire half. He hasn't stopped running the entire half that he's been there. So I just don't understand when you're looking for a goal, and I get it. This team is not deep right now at striker. There's no doubt about that. It's not deep. But you use the players that you have here, and again, ride the hot hand. Thiago just scored a goal for you a week earlier. Like, give him an opportunity to go out there and do that. You don't put Spicer out of position in the hopes that he can try to make something happen for you. And to be honest with you, I wasn't impressed with his pressing when he came on. I thought he should have been more tight to the defense than he was. He honestly wasn't. He played him kind of loose, which I thought was odd. But Thiago's got that pure out-and-out speed. So why didn't you use Thiago in the hopes of... Because Angulo was still on at that point as well, because Angulo doesn't come off until way late. I think he's one of the later subs or whatever it was. Yeah, 79th minute. So if you bring Thiago on when Spicer comes on in the 66th, that gives you Angulo and Thiago with all that speed able to press and try to make something, change the game a little bit in that case. And then to add on, would have probably brought on Taifi at some point and in some capacity as well, because that's another dude that can run for days and give you speed and all the other stuff that you're looking for. But again, the subs don't hit, and Poppy leaves a sub on the table, and I just don't understand it. And I get that the injury changes maybe the sub plan or whatever, but oh man, dang. So yeah, I don't know, it just drives me nuts. I just don't understand. I just don't get the idea of what the second half was supposed to be.
We'll touch on to real quick. Obviously, this was part of what happened after. So Messi scores the goal. Crepeau, what goes under Crepeau, right? Scores the goal. The wall. Everybody has middle fingers up, and Messi goes, "Give it to me, baby." He's like, "Give it to me, baby," right? Like Rick James, and goes and does his thing. And then he goes towards, and I want to clarify, because there's been a lot of, I know Hercules Gomez, Hercules, said that he was like saying something else that wasn't true. So Messi comes up and literally goes towards the bench of Orlando City. Now, he had a previous conversation with Oscar, because I believe Oscar was pissed about the Gusky red. And I think it comes from that. And so they already had a kind of exchange of words. Nothing came about, right? And he goes towards the bench. Everybody's saying F Miami. I don't think Messi's dumb. He understands you, right? Even though you may think he doesn't speak English. He goes and he definitely knows it's a derby, right? He boasts, "I just scored a brace on you." So he walks and tells the bench of Orlando City, he's like, "Anota." I'm gonna say it in Spanish. "Anota." Write it down. Write it down on whatever the crap you have on your hand right now. "Anota. I scored 2 on you. Anota. Write that down." He said write that down. It wasn't anything else. Now, obviously, it's kind of making fun, obviously, but I mean, we've seen fucking worse. I mean, now, nonetheless, obviously, Miami got the loot, got the bag. They got the 4-2 score, right? Now, I'm gonna say what I saw after. What I saw was after Ojeda comes up and says to Messi, "Hey, I appreciate what you did." Like, in a very calm manner, bro. "I don't appreciate what you said. I think, it was a little too much, man." You know what I mean? So then Messi, when you read his lips, he says, "Well, I'm just celebrating. You celebrated too in Miami." so I cannot celebrate. So then they start walking away. And apparently that conversation escalated in the tunnel, like going towards the locker rooms, in which players got into a scream match. Messi was the guy instigating that. Orlando City responded, right? To the point that even some of the staff was seen very distraught and also screamed a couple things for what I could hear. And then they went into their locker room. They didn't come out at all. Messi didn't speak to anybody. He just literally went, grabbed his shit, and left with his security and all that stuff. And one thing I do want to say, and I guess this is tied in with the media experience, but what happened in the media, I have a little bit of I know Orlando City had no control over this. This is a criticism, not so much on the club, it's a criticism so much on the league. And then we'll go into the fan experience, because then we need to speak to that first. You guys were with the fans. Let's start with John, if you want to go at it right away, or you want David to start. You want to kind of give your piece about what happened.
Yeah, I'll start. I just want to say OCB already down 2 goals, so that's a vibe
Down?
as well. Yep, they're down
their
to
17-year-old
already.
academy product is getting roasted on the right hand side.
Otero had a horrible mess up on the first goal as well. So
Oh.
I was hoping some good vibes from OCB while we do a pop, and we cut to like a goal. No, we're 2 down. Let's talk about fan experience at the stadium. First of all, I gotta say, I understand that this was an extremely busy game. I understand that they opened the gates earlier, but none of that makes a difference when all of the security staff and everybody checking tickets and are just so slow and so bad at their jobs, and like they're just not trained, and they're day workers, and it's the same thing every year. And at the beginning of the season, it's especially bad because nobody knows what they're doing, and it just takes a long time for them to figure it out. I arrived at the supporter gate at 6:35. Took about 35 minutes to get through the line, and at about 7 o'clock I was through. I looked back behind me, the line was just as long. Like, so it's not a case of the line, needing to, it's just big because there's so many people. It's like, no, it just doesn't move, right? And I think that you could see it at the other side of the stadium. I've seen pictures from A, B, and C. I've seen it on the West Club. There's a real problem with getting people into the stadium. And yeah, it's something that's really frustrated me for a long time, and I think they have to fix it. And I know Jared Dillon is a great guy. I know him personally. I know he cares a lot about game day experience. So that's the big thing for me is fix the issues we have of how complicated it is. And that was accelerated by the fact that the wall had a bunch of Messi fans trying to get in there that they did an okay job of screening them. Just okay, though, not really that good. When I was coming in the wall, I saw several people coming in with like pink shirts underneath purple shirts, and we're like, what is this guy doing? I saw 3 guys coming in with wristbands on that they didn't check their ticket again. Like, you're not supposed to re-enter the stadium, but they clearly had been told to go throw their Messi shirts in the car, and that was okay. So they got kicked out, and then they came back in on a wristband. There's no re-entry to the stadium, so that shouldn't be happening. There's just a lot of examples of that where it's just poorly managed. And then on top of that, when we do concede goals, right, I look over at the east side of the stadium, and I'm seeing all these people stand up and shout, Messi, Messi, Messi. And like, I get it. Like, the man's super famous. He's, Messi, whatever. But this is supposed to be our stadium. So like, all the people on the wall, they're there screaming their hearts out, like impassioned, and like will bleed purple. There's, for every one of those, next to them was some idiot with a phone, right? And that picture that Morgan Tenza took just perfectly sums it up. I want to shout out to Morgan. She's She works for
Awesome
Soccer
photographer.
Photographer.
Morgan.
She's been around
Awesome
forever.
It's great. I love.
She's a legend of the photography game. So
Yeah,
she took that
she's
amazing
definitely a
picture that's
legend.
all over social media. And shame on all the people who are taking photos, because you're not Orlando City fans. You're not. I'm sorry, you're not. You're Messi fans. Some of them are casuals, right? That just get in there, and people wear Orlando City shit and don't care. Like they're like, great, I'll wear Orlando City shit. I'll still cheer for Messi. Like I don't care. So there is a bigger problem that our supporter section is full of casuals, and that's an issue. But I think to have that feeling in our stadium of just like your fellow fans next to you, people that I thought were like, oh, you're a Orlando City fan, just to turn coat and be like, oh, screw, I don't care. This is Lionel Messi. Let me take a photo. As a real hardcore, like Orlando City fan, that really pisses me off. Like it really frustrates me because what is the supporter section for if it's not for all the hardcore supporters? In the rest of the stadium, when they stand up and they shout Messi, whatever. He's Lionel Messi. Apparently, he's a god.
Yo, I don't want that on the south end. Come on, now.
Right? I don't. It's everywhere. The rest of the stadium,
Yeah.
I can accept it because they don't have home and away, and people are just going to turn up and be Messi fans, whatever. But why are there so many of them in the wall, and especially the top of the wall? The top of the wall is just a party section, man. It is. We only have enough people to fill out about a third of the way up the wall with hardcore fans. And after that, it gets real casual. And when it gets casual, and like in this game, you got dudes like behind me who are screaming Messi, Messi, Messi the whole time. So from that perspective, it sucked.
Well, I'm about to blow. I'm about to blow the gasket right now of what John said. I want to show you. I want to give kudos to Lucas Camarini, our photographer, because he took a similar shot than Morgan, and there's actually more people with phones.
Lucas, we got to
And
get
if
your
you're
photo everywhere.
right there, look. There you go. This is the corner kick. Look, this is in the corner kick right there. Yep. So, David, wanna say your piece, my friend?
Yeah, so like John, the lines for me, I go in through A because my section's right there because I'm on the south end. So the lines for me, just again, like I said last week, not quick. The security just seemed out of touch and just didn't understand what was going on. I had a family in front of me that only spoke Spanish and was trying to bring in a bunch of big bags, and security had nobody on the staff who could apparently talk to this lady, and all of a sudden she decides to also stop the line so her kid can take a picture in front of the metal detector, which backs up everybody, and nobody said anything. She just stood there and took the picture and then bumps into me and doesn't say anything, and that was a whole disaster. But then getting into the actual stadium, I get in normally on big rivalry games, and this has happened the last couple years because I've been in the same section for a while. Shout out to my section 3 squad that's over there. But normally, especially on big rivalry games or big games, they have somebody at the top of the stairs to check your tickets to make sure you're not going down to like field level to go take pictures and all that kind of stuff, because the opponents warm up on my side of the pitch, right? So I do my due diligence and I boo them properly and tell them they suck when they miss and all the things I should be doing. But of course, for this game, you knew a lot of people were going to try to like bundle down to go see Messi while he's doing warm-ups and all the other stuff. It took security until about 18 minutes left of warming up for them to finally put somebody on the top of the stairs to tell people to get out of the stairs in the middle of the section there, but then to also stop people from walking down. It took them until 18 minutes left of warm-ups to figure that out. Why did it take so long for them to figure that out? Number one, because then all these people are just standing in the stairwell all the way up the section, blocking the section, and they're all taking pictures, and this girl's like, ooh, look at me. Oh, look at me. I got Messi on the back of my shirt. It was like all that right in front of us, and they're not doing anything. I don't get it. And I'm sitting there watching this happen going, what in the hell is all of this? Like, I don't get any of this. So then finally they get a security person over. He boots all these people out of here so they can't sit there and take pictures. We're doing our proper thing of booing them or whatever. And then every time Messi hits a warm-up goal, a whole bunch of pink is in the middle of it, and they're going, Messi, 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 for warm-up goals. Warm-up goals against a third-string keeper. They're over here licking this dude's boots before he even does anything, right? So then to move on a little bit more, right? We, as always with these games, we end up with a fair amount of away fans who end up in my section because they buy tickets off of people and all that kind of stuff and whatever.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So we go up 2-0. There's a dad and his kid like a couple seats down in my row, and the whole time the whole pregame they're letting us have it. You guys suck. You stink. No star above the badge. Blah blah blah. As dad's wearing a Messi shirt and kid's wearing a Messi shirt and the kid's got a Messi scarf and the dad's got a Messi hat and all this other junk, right? They're giving us the business the whole game, whatever. And then finally, when the game turns and tilts and it goes Miami's way, he scores his first goal. He looks at me, he flicks me off, a couple seats down, puts his scarf up, and he goes, best in the world, blah, 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 whatever, right? Then we play on a little bit. They get the goal. And that's the other thing, too, that I really want to point out here. Nobody in that stand that was wearing a Messi shirt gave a shit about anybody else on that field. Let's be very honest about what that was.
Well, they don't probably know anybody that
I
Messi.
quizzed a couple of Miami people, like while I was going up and down the stairs. When I went to go use the John real quick and come back. I quizzed some guys and said, name 4 other players that you think could make a difference in this game. Most of the people I asked had no idea what the hell I was talking about. Plastic as hell. Put that out there now. So anyway, then the 4th goal gets scored. Messi hits that ridiculous free kick that, again, should have been saved, but whatever. He hits that free kick. He does his whole thing, whatever. The dad and the kid are looking at me. Yeah, see, suck it, man, blah, 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 whatever. And then these plastic-ass fans can't even stay until the end of the game. They duck out about, 7-8 minutes left, which, number one, you're winning the game. Stick around. What's the matter with you? But secondly, they go out. He's trash talking us the whole way out. He waits till he gets to the stairs to really say his piece and what he wants to say. The whole section's letting this dude have it at this point because he's an idiot. And then what just makes it the piece on the cake is security the entire time just sits there and does nothing. He's in La La Land. He's like, I don't understand what's going on. I don't really care. They're arguing, whatever. There's a guy 2 rows up for me who's really letting this dude have it. I thought they were going to come to blows. He's really letting this dude have it. Nothing. Then the kid, unfortunately, has to come back because he leaves something at his seat. So he's got to come all the way down there. And guess what dad doesn't do? Come down the stairs. He stays right at the top like the plastic fan that he is and lets his kid walk all the way down those seats to go get his stuff and come back.
By himself?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, by himself. And so the entire time, and so at that point, though, security starts to look at us and go, okay, let's be cool. Let's be cool. All right, let's be cool. Because he's thinking we're going to do something to a kid, right? Give me a break, dude. We're not doing anything to the kid. And then as we walk out, because we're starting to walk out or whatever, because the game ends and they're still sticking around, whatever. We walk out and the guy that's 2 rows up from me sticks his foot out and the dad steps on his foot and almost goes over onto the stairs. Not a cool move. I don't condone that. We shouldn't be doing stuff like that. But this is the kind of shit that you need to start de-escalating before it gets out of control. And nobody was doing it, right? And they added extra security to the photographer like bullpen that's there, where they all line up. They added a few extra, at least folks on my side. I'm sure they did it on other sides of the stadium as well. But they added a couple extra dudes there. So you're telling me that one of those guys couldn't have stepped away from their post real quick and said, I need to go deal with this because this is going to escalate? There was nothing. There was like no wherewithal to understand what it was. It was like their only goal was make sure that somebody doesn't touch Messi, which didn't work anyway because there was like, 2 or 3 people that ended up on the field anyway and ended up grabbing Messi or whatever it was. But like, what are we doing? We understood the stakes of this game. We understood it was a rivalry game. We understood that there was going to be fans on both sides that were going to be very vicious with this and everything. But there was no guardrails to make sure that any of this was going to stop from happening. Listen, I'm not a saint, right? I've been in games where we played Tigres and Leagues Cup, and I almost went to blows with some Tigres fans. I blew my stack a little bit. I can admit that, right? In those games, I felt more protected than this rivalry game, which makes no freaking sense whatsoever. You understand what the stakes are. There are 2 games on the calendar you should be circling every single time when it comes to security and efficiency, and that's Atlanta and Miami. Those are the 2 games you have to be ready for. I don't understand why the stadium couldn't be ready for it. I just don't get it. And from entrance to getting into my seat to the whole, like everything else that went with it, to the wall stuff that I saw, because of course I can see what's going on the wall right across from me. I just don't understand what we have to do. I knew this game from the get-go was going to be 60% Messi fans and everybody else. I understood that going into it. But you have to protect the fans that are there to watch the team that's on the field. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think they succeeded at that. They failed. And I put that in my survey this week, and I made sure it was very clear. The club did not succeed. And Jared, if you're watching, this is not a personal affront at you. That's not how I mean this. I just mean that the stadium and the staff can do a better job at ensuring, especially with these rivalry games, that we're watching out for our season ticket members and our supporter groups and everybody else around the stadium that supports in their different ways, because they have to. You need to at this point. If this was South America, people would have fought. People would have probably been hurt.
If it would have been South America, number one is you'll see the local police.
Yeah.
There'll be one cop in each door. So section 133 gets a cop. 145 gets a cop. There's one cop in it, and then there's cops on the bottom, there's cops in the press room, there's cops everywhere. That's number one. Number two is and one thing that I think it's important, I don't know, I think there used to be a position about a supporter liaison or
There
supporter.
still is, yeah. There's several
I think
support liaisons.
I think they need to come again and kind of vamp it up, especially for these games.
My thing is,
there's a lot of
MLS,
casuals.
like they need to learn that, like, if you're gonna have rivalry games, you're gonna start to have like mixed crowds. Like, this is getting more serious. We're getting into what the world soccer, what football across the world does, and they don't just let fans sit together. There's a reason they're all separated, right? And I think that it's genuinely getting to the point where, I hope it doesn't, but it can boil over, like Dave is explaining these situations. And when you've got fans sitting right next to you or opposing team and, in your face, and this guy's you don't know who's going to say what, or something's going to happen here or there.
Alcohol,
so
and all
like,
that.
If there's going to be this many Miami fans, let's be honest, if there's going to be this many Miami fans that buy a ticket and come to the game, I'd rather just give them like a whole section and be like, put them all together. And like, let's have real European style back and forth, and we can chant, and you can chant.
Do 50-50 stadiums, right? Like if my season ticket rep needed to come to me and say, hey, for the Miami and Atlanta games, I need you to sit on that side of the stadium. Let's say it's walled this way, right? And they cut it off in half. That's fine. Just reseat me for that game. I understand what the stakes are. I'd rather be closer to my brethren anyway.
Want to be near the wall.
Right.
And not only that, and this is a great point because it's true. There's no mixing between like big clubs. So there's a rivalry, for example, in this case of Peru, Alianza Lima Universitario, like they cannot mix. So whoever is the home team owns the whole stadium. It's all one color, and then the away team cannot bring their fans unless they cannot be jerseys of one particular color. This throughout the stadium, and there's police outside and inside. So, I mean, they've opted up. I mean, the security now, that is really concerning, and I feel like maybe they need to look into the company that they're using for some of the security. 100%. It says, I wish we were separated sitting next to rivals sucked. Wife kept telling me to keep my cool. LOL. Well, I mean,
same, Kenneth. Same.
Well, and I'll say, and Luis, I'll say this. And I think this is what John and I are getting to. I don't understand why every year it feels like a full reset with the security team. I just don't. There doesn't seem to be continuity. Well, I know that's fine, but
they don't have any retention, which is crazy.
But then my thing is that before the season starts, because when the season is coming, they should be doing more preseason matches at the stadium to get these people trained and understand what they should be looking for and all that. I just don't get it.
I honestly, I don't know for sure, but it feels to me like you're 100% right. We get a fresh batch of people every year because people don't want to do this job year on year, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's a thankless job that they don't pay enough for. No, they can't keep the people, can't develop people year on year, and can't have any of that sort of like progression. But also I think that it just seems to me like it's just poorly planned, honestly. Like they're all day workers. What we need is Orlando. Like, where are the Orlando City ticket staff? Right? Where, like, I see one person in the supporter line who I know works for the club, like actually works for the club. Everyone else is a day worker who has been paid, they don't care about us. They're just there to do a job. They're basically a cashier, right? That's the same level of idea. And so I think that if you're going to really fix this issue, you need to have things happening in the lines before you get there, right? And especially in the supporter section. But like, we're partnered with Disney. Go talk to Disney. Bring them in. They're freaking line experts. Like, do something. Spend some money. Train some people. Figure it out, because it just can't keep going on the way it is. It drives everybody insane. And
Agreed.
And it takes forever to people to get in the stadium. So you're losing money because people aren't in the state. Like, people won't go get a drink. They won't go get food before they sit down because they're in later.
In there faster,
Yeah,
right? You
want
to
open the gates an hour early. It didn't make a difference, really.
Real quick, before we continue talking about what happened, and I'll talk the media side now. Harvey Sarajian just scored.
Let's go, Harvey.
Question is, can Orlando City make something out of it? And the answer to that question is no. Now played through. It's Maximus Eck. Eck on it. Eck going for it. Stopped by Otero.
Here we go.
Let's see. Isa Haruna right there.
Yeah.
Maximus Eck, a player
I thought Harvey was going to cook in this game.
Very high on, including Chris O'Neal, and battled through injuries throughout his career. Starting to, at least in the hope of this organization, get back.
Look
to
at
full
Ellis right
fitness to
there.
unlock his full potential.
Yeah, like I've been saying to
4
people, he's been
goals
running
in
all
5
game.
appearances
Bro,
down the stretch.
Ellis
We've been
is
having
a
this in the
beast,
past.
man.
year.
What do we do?
I'm so glad we got him on that contract finally.
2025. Now here comes Muhammad playing it toward goal. It's deflected.
Yeah, for those that don't know,
And a
Shaq
late corner
Muhammad is
here for
playing
Huntsville
down with
City.
Huntsville right now. So
Yeah.
OCB legend, Shaq Muhammad.
He scored a goal for them, actually.
Yeah. I think you were a little far back. Yeah,
There you
because
go.
Caraballo starts this break.
For this Orlando City B team. Good ball play forward, though, to Caraballo. Now Caraballo in the middle. Sarajan going for it. It's Sarajan.
Filthy.
Beautiful on both ends. Caraballo makes
Filthy.
2 dudes miss, and then Harvey just puts that guy on skates.
Harvey is just
Filthy,
like
bro.
calm on the ball, you know.
I
This
know,
guy,
that's what I'm saying.
he's got that. He's
It's
got that. Like, oh, let me
Sarajan,
just
the Floridian,
slot
2-1.
this.
Let's
Well
put
done,
him in
Harvey.
Hey, I would rather have that against Inter Miami. What the
Let's
hell?
get his scoring boots going, please. I would love that for the
This
first
all
team.
starts here with Justin Ellis.
Look, Justin Ellis. Boom.
Look at this
What a
pass
pass.
forward.
Look at
They're gonna find
Caraballo, bro.
Caraballo, who splits 2 defenders.
3
And
dudes
that
you all
is
should be
just
watching
excellent
for the
vision
first team, by the
for
way. Got
Gustavo
involved in
Cara-
that play. Justin Ellis, Caraballo,
Nice.
and then Harvey Subjarin.
Miss-
Perfect.
Senor Pareja, please. Come on, bro.
He better be
Please,
watching the
please.
kids tonight.
He'll be in that
Like,
crowd, or he
oh,
might not
come
be.
on,
He might not
man.
want to see some of the fans.
I saw earlier on in the broadcast, Jared Dillon and Ricardo were down like towards the bottom there. You could see
I
them,
always
so.
tell people, if you want to see a player, get an autograph, meet a coach, go to the OCB game. They're just
Meet an
sitting in the
executive.
stands. They're
Yeah.
just sitting there. You go talk to them if you want to.
Yeah.
It says
true.
most of these people are hired on a per game basis, so they don't have fixed staff at the gate.
Yeah, I get
Yeah,
that.
well, just don't do that. Like, just change that whole freaking model. Have some people that learn the thing week in,
Well,
week out. Like, pay
They
people
do
more
that.
money. I don't
They
know what
do
to
that
tell
for
you.
media. So the lady that scans and searches media is the same lady I've seen for the past
Yeah.
3 or 4
So
seasons.
it is possible. They just don't
Yeah.
think it's worthy for the rest of the
Right.
stadium, right?
I went to Santa Fe game in Bogota, and they separated everyone else. I never saw so much security in my life. It was insane. Well, that's the whole point. It's a derby. It's a complicated game. You gotta take precaution. It makes sense. Get Ronaldo in here and really watch the sparks fly. No. All right, so I'm gonna give a little bit of my media side. It's gonna be fast. This is not a criticism specifically on Orlando City because they're powerless. What I'm a little bit upset is Orlando City is at home. Why is Inter Miami taking over the press room first? And they're there for freaking 35 to 40 minutes, while Orlando City media is doing they're doing like the media. They're outside essentially doing the interviews instead of being inside. They usually call 2 or 3 players. And we use our press room. They did the interviews outside. Right with a.
So
in-
wait,
in-
Inter
in-
Miami were using our press room and we were outside in the hallway. Is that what you're telling me?
Yep. So
That
and
doesn't
then
make
after
any
that,
sense.
What?
and then after that,
Why?
it switched. And after that, it switched.
Yeah, but why are they going first?
So
You're
so
totally
so
right.
so Inter did the media outside. So with
Probably
some
because they want to
players,
get Messi out of there as soon as possible.
right? They want to do the media outside. They do the the
The
media
like huddle thing.
Yeah, the huddle. With all the
Mixed
players
zone.
walk out. Mix zone. There you go. So Orlando City press typically in an MLS game is okay. Game's over. Post game. Okay. Everybody to the press room. If you want to interview the rival team, you got to ask their PR for an interview. And then they'll go look the players for you and then you interview them or whatever. We're Loud and Proud Orlando. We're no Loud and Proud Miami, right? So I care about Orlando City. So
Sure.
I thought it was, again, my bad for not reading, right? That's my bad. I go into the press room and I'm looking and I see everything Inter Miami. I'm like, what the hell? Oh no, it's mix zone. So we're gonna do mix zone first. So bro, I had to get my tripod. I had to set it up. I was with already Wesh and Fox and everybody was already set up. It's okay. It's fine. It's part of the job. It's no big deal. I'm not complaining about that. What I'm complaining is they used the press room for Orlando City first. So Mascherano spoke for like 20 to 30 minutes while we were doing mix zone with Orlando City, and then they switched. And then Pareja only spoke in the press room, which was like less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it was done. And then Miami did mix zone. So I think the league needs to be a little bit more fair to local press media. I think it's the league.
Why not?
They cannot be changing things around for one freaking player. That's my criticism, and it's on the league. It's not in Orlando City because Orlando City is just told how things are going to go. There's really no ifs and buts about. Now, I do want to commend Orlando City because they put their foot down. Because a lot of people apply for these games. A lot of outlets that don't really cover absolutely nothing. They just want to go see Messi, right? And they do, and I do want to give kudos to Orlando City Communications. They took care of the colleagues that have been covering the team for a long time, including myself, to be in the press box and not give those seats to only Miami press. I do give kudos to that. Miami press was in section 119. Obviously they had on the new fancy zone, the one that you can eat, all you can eat, and all that stuff. Right. So they were there, right? But they did respect that for Orlando, which I do take. I think thank you so much for that, because so Orlando City did their part. It's just the league, and I don't know if it's like that in every game that Miami plays away. It's just annoying, bro, that they have to change all of that for just one freaking player, bro. Like I've never seen it before. It's insane.
And while we are talking about the press conference, I mean, to open up, Oscar started with, it's a much better version of us today. Like, that's the opening statement you want to come out with
In the
a
first
4-2 loss to Miami at home in the second. We've already shipped 6 goals, bro.
You know
it's
what?
2 games in the season. So I like Adriana said here, it was 10 minutes excuses. It was 10 minutes of excuses. And I didn't want to see that from him. Like, take ownership. You messed up the second half. Your tactics messed up. You're too afraid to attack, and he doesn't admit that it's his fault, but it is.
I would have had more respect for him if he came out and he said, "We screwed the pooch in the second half. That's on me." Like, I messed up. I thought we could just cruise the rest of the way. That's on me. I didn't put the players in the right spot. I lost us this game. But you're never going to hear that from this dude because he's never going to tell you that. He's never going to come out here. And again, this is the 6th straight season of excuses that we get of sorry. Like, to John's point, you come out here and you say, this is the best game, or whatever he said, the best half we've had or best game that we've had. Give me a break,
much better
dude.
version of us today.
Give me a break. You lost. The best version should
we
be when you
conceded
win.
more goals than the last game, so I don't understand how that makes
exactly
sense.
To your point. We shipped more goals in this game than we did in the other games. It's what you're seeing right now is a guy who doesn't have answers. That's what you're seeing. And it's just getting to the point where it's like, how long can you hang on to a guy who doesn't have answers? He just doesn't have them.
Also, and again, I think the U.S. Open Cup win and all of that has elevated to a point how Orlando is from what it was when he first took the job, that it's not normal just to qualify to playoffs. You have to exceed that. So the problem is, you're seeing a little bit of a, I don't know, I will say complacency. And also we have a group of young players that, some of them gave their all, but it wasn't all that. And also the tactics could have been a little bit better. I think some of the things he said, could have, he needs to stop with saying, hey, we want to appreciate the fans and stuff, because the fans are going to appreciate it if you win. I mean, it's becoming a results game now. Fans want results. Now Orlando's 0-3. And it's going to get worse when they have to play in a freaking baseball field next weekend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
if sold out games that we lost at home, epic failure of a start of a season.
Well, and Luis, let me say this, because we were critical of them last week, but the right players, I think, came out this time to talk to us. Like, we wanted to hear from Teen Show. I'm glad we heard from Teen Show, because I think Teen Show gave us some interesting insight, and obviously he was a guy that was in the middle. He was a focal point of the game throughout the game, right? So I wanted to hear from him.
He was mad.
Even though I don't speak Spanish, I appreciate, obviously, that the translator was there, and then, of course, Luis, and you're great, sort of describing the situation and how it was. Marco Pašalić looked pissed, as he should be, and I know he didn't want to talk about the ref.
Pissed.
Yeah, they didn't want to talk about the ref and all that. But guys, can we stop asking the question to players? What did you see when you scored that goal? I don't need to hear it anymore. I'm sorry, but I don't need to hear it. They clearly saw the right passage of play to score a goal. I don't need to hear how they scored the goal. What I want to hear from Martin Ojeda is, hey, Martin, and these questions were asked, so don't get me wrong, but the question you should be asking is, hey, Martin, when the second goal goes in and now it's a tie game, what is the team's attitude at that point, right? What is the coaching staff telling you? What are you thinking in your head that this team needs to do to get back on the right track? Those are the questions I want asked. Or, okay, the team goes into halftime. They're feeling great about themselves. What does the halftime talk sound like? What are the players going to do when they go out there in order to make an impact and make sure it happens? I understand for Reed Brown, it's how did you do in your first game? Let's clap for him a little bit, because again, he had a solid match and all that, and I get all that. But for Pašalić and Ojeda, the questions need to be, you guys are the leaders on the field. You're the DPs. What are you doing to try to drag this team to a draw or to a win at this point? Because the game got away from you, and you're aware that the game got away from you. I don't need to hear, hey, Marco, when Angulo squared that ball to you, what were you thinking of doing? Duh, shoot the damn ball. That's what you were thinking, right? Like, there was no other question. So I don't want to be that critical about it. It's just, to me, it's a silly thing to go over, because we know what they saw. We understand what Pašalić is going to do. He's going to want to get the ball on his left foot. We understand what Ticho's going to want to do. He's going to want to shoot the ball when he's within the 18. It's just, I'm sorry, but it's just silly to me to just burn a question on that.
To be devil's advocate, the reason why they ask, tell us about your goal, is because they write on it. They write a report right after, and then they tell you how the goal was.
I
No,
don't need to read a report of the goal either.
right.
I watched the goal.
I want to read your analysis of what the player said about the
right.
goal.
But that's that. So there's and again, this is how the league is going to grow eventually. And I'm just again, I'm not trying to criticize anyone. That's not my intention. But I think less people now read. There's people that do,
Sure.
and that's perfectly fine. More people are multimedia, are TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, visual, YouTube, and it's just the way.
I love to read too, though.
It's just how journalism is kind of turning the tide. And there's one thing about the MLS is like they still hone down on the writing side, because the people that are right now, like what would you call the insiders of the league, started writing. Right now, technically, there's not an insider that's just like me, for example. Like I have a podcast or something, or like they really hone that in the written press. Orlando Sentinel, when's the last time there were, with all due respect, when's the last time you bought Orlando Sentinel? Like the actual physical Orlando Sentinel with coupons.
I don't
and
know
stuff.
if they print them anymore.
I've never bought an online subscription to Orlando Sentinel.
Right.
No. I mean, local coverage is pretty minimal. Like there's Mike.
And Luis, let me be clear. I'm not trying to attack anyone in particular. What I'm trying to say is that level of question is beyond us at this point. Like this club has gotten to the point where we're beyond it. I watch, like, for example, I decided to do this weekend because there was something that came out on Reddit and on Twitter where I guess some local media of some teams got videos struck down because they were covering press conferences in a different way. Was it Seattle, or it was one of those teams?
Noah Rife with Seattle. Yep. Yeah.
And so, but I watched some of those press conferences because I decided to go down the rabbit hole and like see how other teams' press conferences are going on. I didn't once hear the question, what did you see when you had that goal? I did hear questions of like, hey, I saw you scored the game winner. What put you in the right position to score the game winner? That I want to know about, right? What did you see in that play to score a game winner because you scored the game winner? That's an impactful goal that changed the game, right? But I don't need to hear about every single goal or what you saw. They're professionals. They saw what they saw because they're at this level for a reason. What really the question needs to become is that we've all evolved past the point of being like, I don't need a TikTok of the game, right? That's what they call it, a TikTok of like, I don't need every minute of what happened in the game. I can watch it, to John's point. There's so much media out there that's going to show me that.
So this is the thing, like, and I'm divulging a lot of things, but I don't care. It's just my own experience. When I first started, obviously there were certain people that already were there, doing written, and typically it's written press. So
sure.
Written press was very heavily regarded, but now with the involvement of TikTok and YouTube and podcasting, it's going more towards this way. Like I said, it's not to knock any written press down. I'm just saying that's the way the needle is moving. And even there's still people that believe that accurate and incisive reporting is based on how you write, and it gives you, and it's fine. I mean, like I said, I'm no one to criticize that. The needle is moving more towards the digital side now as a new age. Eventually, the whole league is going to have to turn into that, especially the federation is going to have to turn into that. U.S. Soccer, NWSL, like everyone is going to have to gear up to that. But again, it's baby steps. It's baby steps. This is here. Yeah. So let's dive in real quick into Antoine Griezmann. I know that David, you had some news on Griezmann.
Yeah, so I've got two things. So one, there was a interesting article that came out between last night and today that basically said, I know the last news that had been put out was that Griezmann was 98% there and it was really close and all this other stuff. Well, unfortunately, it seems like between Simeone and the front office of Atletico Madrid. They have tried to convince him to stay. And their biggest thing is they're not against him leaving at all now. They're just more so wanting him for the entire rest of the season. As we kind of talked about last week, they have a big Copa Rey match tomorrow against Barcelona. They are big on aggregate. I think they're up, 4-0 on aggregate right now?
Yep, 4-0.
Yeah, so like it's very unlikely that they won't make the final for that match, right? Unless Barcelona is able to come out and just hang something on them or whatever it is. But anyway, so they've got that match, and then of course they have Champions League, which I believe they draw Spurs, which is a very winnable match for them to move on because obviously Spurs is fighting relegation right now in the Premier League. So take that for what it's worth. So really, the reason why they want to keep him, because I saw a lot of fans are like, but they don't start him in league games and this, that, and whatever, and that's true. They don't really start him in league games. They've really used him though in a very tactful way in their various other competitions like the Copa del Rey and Champions League and things like that. He's normally the first name off the bench that Simeone is bringing on to change the look of the game. And of course, because of the level player he is, he changes the game most of the time when he comes onto the pitch. And so now what it's really coming down to is Orlando City going to stick to their guns and say, because remember, there were two camps, right? It was Orlando City's going for him now, and the only option they're giving him is he has to come before this window closes, which is in a couple weeks now. Or there was the camp of Orlando City still negotiates with him. They allow him to come in the summer, but he gets less money if he comes in the summer versus if he comes now, right? That was the argument. From what I've understood and from what I've heard from sources, Orlando City still wants Griezmann here badly. They very much do. They obviously like his profile. They like what he can bring, all that stuff. They would very much prefer for him to come now. That's still the camp. They still want him to come. What I have heard, though, is that apparently the club on our side has softened a little bit and is more open to accepting him in the summer as long as he's willing to take the lower wage, right? And so that's kind of where it's leaning right now, where he probably stays with Atletico through the end of their season and Griezmann comes in the summer. Because obviously, we only play, 14 games, I think, before the World Cup break. So really you have 2/3 of the season as the back half that would get this guy up to speed and all that kind of stuff and whatever. But I've also heard from another source, so a little bit of contradictory stuff, that Orlando City's ready to move on to the next target if he is not willing to get over here now. So I think the really telling thing is what happens tomorrow. If for some reason Simeone can't get these guys up to speed and Barcelona finds a way to win and move on and Copa del Rey, which is what Orlando City fans might want to root for, they would be more willing to let him go if they're no longer in that competition, because all they have left to compete for at that point is the rest of their season, which they most likely will not win, and then Champions League, which I think they're a deep enough team to make a real run at Champions League without Griezmann. So that's really, I think, what it hinges on. If they move to the final of Copa del Rey, though, I think Griezmann probably ends up staying, and there's probably not an amount of money that we can throw him that probably gets him here now, but he is still very willing to come in the summer if we still want his services in the summer.
I mean, I think Barcelona is going to have to score 4 to 5 goals because there's 2 legs.
Right.
First leg is tomorrow. Second leg is April 5th.
No, this is the second leg. They already
This is the
played.
second leg already?
Yeah.
They're 4-0 down already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, they're 4-0 up. Yeah.
So
Barca have to score 5 goals literally, and they have to
so that's why. Okay, so they want him to go with a
and Barca. We all know what's going on with them this year. So
yeah, they're inconsistent,
and they don't have Lua tomorrow. He's injured, so that's going to affect their game.
I mean,
it
could happen, right? It's Barcelona. They could. It could be a miracle. But I think more likely with a defensive style of Simeone, they can see this out.
Well, also, I believe to correct it, I think Barcelona is playing at home tomorrow, right? I think they're at Camp Nou tomorrow. So if that's the case, Barcelona would just need to get 4 and bring it to PKs and win in PKs if they need to. So again, 4 goals is still a lot.
Which they could, but it's a lot. I mean, and again, I think the quality that Atletico has right now, it's...
I guess my bigger question to you guys is, if Griezmann is still willing to commit now, but saying that he won't come until the summer, is that a deal that you take? I guess is my question to you two. Because I know some fans are like, no, we got to have him now. We got to have him now. How do you two feel about, would you still be willing to take him in the summer, even if he's willing to take less money, which obviously doesn't matter, obviously. But would you guys be open to taking him in the summer versus getting him now?
I mean, I'm thinking about the other options we would get now, and I'm struggling to think that any of them are as good as Griezmann. I mean, I think we're gonna suck for the first half of the season, no matter what, right? Even if you get Griezmann in, I still don't think that's gonna solve our problems now. So, my biggest thing is, what are we gonna do with him? What do we look like when he gets here? And is Oscar still the coach? So, maybe if we don't get him now, there's more chance that they'll finally move on from Oscar, and we could have Griezmann under a more attacking coach. I genuinely feel like Martin Ojeda is wasted at times, right? I feel like even if we bring Griezmann here and you just put him in the front of a Oscar system that's very defensive, like we see, and he's just like this one out ball that we have to Griezmann, and we're expecting him to do everything. It's just not. It's basically when we had Nani and that team. Like, it's a similar situation. Like, I want to be an aggressive attacking front foot team. Guys like Ojeda and Griezmann and Pašalić, combine them up together, play like freaking Inter Miami, play attacking all the time. Like, and we're not going to see that under Oscar. So I think I want Griezmann here. I just think that I'm not excited about watching him in Oscar's system. So now or in the summer, I don't care. I'd rather now. But yeah, I mean, it's a real thing. If Griezmann doesn't come now, then and we move on to someone else, it might not be as good as Griezmann, and then we're like, we should have just waited till the summer, right? So I want him now, but I would rather almost wait if it's him or someone else until the summer, honestly. Unless the other one else is even better, but I don't see it.
Based on what's the stake for him, I feel like he's gonna probably try to go in the summer. I do feel though that the club needs to, and I think the club is being proactive. I think right now, I wouldn't doubt Ricardo already making some phone calls, because you have to understand, and also I wouldn't doubt Griezmann watching some Orlando City and kind of saying, where can I help in this team, right? And when you have a player of that caliber, you have to build around that player. And it's the way it is. It's nothing personal. And, has Oscar demonstrated what he can do with a star? I mean, I think we really don't know. I mean, we have a lot of young kids right now. And I think the fans want results, and you gotta see, if you're gonna bring a player the caliber of Griezmann, is to win, and you're not gonna set him up to give, to hey, I'm gonna take you out because I'm gonna put a Tuesta, bro. You know what I mean? Like, he wants to play, right? So I don't know, man. I have a feeling that I would like him to come now, personally, but I think
just had another OCB goal, Luis.
We have another OCB goal. Oh.
Yeah, Leao
Pedro Leao after a darting run from Zachariah Taifi. A darting run from Zachariah Taifi.
If you go to 57 minutes, 30 seconds.
Taifi is playing in OCB right now.
Yes, he started for them tonight.
Wow. But yeah, I mean, honestly,
so you guys are cool with him in the summer. So if you're okay with him being in the summer, even though that might mean we're
going to change much.
Okay.
I just think that at this point, the only players we can sign are ones that are willing to leave their club in the middle of a season to come here now.
Right.
I just think we're going to take a massive step down into the next guy if we're pushing to get him now, when I'd rather just wait and get Griezmann.
And I think the reason why the club wants Griezmann now, it's because right now we're 0-3. It's different to wanting to play for a team that's 0-3, that there's still, whether you like it or not, a lot of season left than playing for a team that's 0-7.
Well, I think they want. I think they want the leadership too, right? We talked about that last week. What
Right,
Griezmann brings, right?
but for example, you don't want to play at a team that's 1-7 or 0-7. It's more attractive to seal the deal now 0-3 and then build upon the 0-3 and then have already somebody in the back burner say, okay, if this doesn't work with Oscar, thank you so much, Monsieur Nancy. Aujourd'hui, comment ça va, Monsieur? And then, maybe Nancy can, work something with Griezmann, and then, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I'm just saying, but if we're going to go towards the summer, we have to be concerned on two things. Number one, that Griezmann may not want to come in the summer either, because he's going to try to say, hey, this is not good enough money for me. And second, what kind of options? I mean, because we're going to get a lot of options because of the World Cup, but also, do they want to play in Orlando?
No,
I mean,
Luis,
how's Orlando going to be looking like by then?
I think you wrap it up now. My point is, I think you get an agreement with him now, and you have him sign somewhere that says, barring an injury or this, that, whatever, you are headed to Orlando in the summer. We're just going to let you play out your season is what you set up for. And you make that agreement with Atletico and all that. Because remember, Atletico is also open to, if he leaves in the summer, to either reduce his transfer fee almost completely, or make it zero. Like, they're talking about, like, they'll just let him go. Because remember, he's technically signed through 2027. That's what their chief soccer officer said, is he's with us through 2027. He's not going anywhere, blah, 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 blah. But if we're able to make a deal with them now and say, okay, we'll wait for the summer, but we either want a reduced fee for him or no fee, just let him walk and go live his dream of playing in the U.S., then you also benefit from having something like that. But to your point, Luis, you get the guy to sign now. Like, you sign on the dotted line now and say, this is the agreement that we're doing. Really, the thought is we buy him and we loan him to Atletico Madrid for the rest of the season to let him play it out, and then we get him when he's done with his season is kind of the way to think about it, right?
That would be a great idea. Let's see if Orlando's able to pull it out, pull it off, and able to be creative.
Yeah.
But I mean, who wouldn't want a player of the caliber of Antoine Griezmann? We just need to see him build.
Because for those that don't know, Richarlison's basically off the table now as well, because not only is he coming back from injury, but he just put out a really interesting video on his social media where he said he's going to refuse to play in the World Cup because of what's happening with the U.S. and the world stage right now. He says he won't even come to the U.S. now. So there's no way he's going to go play for an MLS team now if he's saying he's not going to come, play for the World Cup for that, month and a half, whatever it is. So that dream's probably dead and gone if anyone was hoping Richarlison would still be the guy.
Go ahead, John.
Huntsville scored again. Otero, I don't know what you're doing, bro. He's on the edge of his box. He plays this ball straight back to them, and then he's got an open goal behind him, and they lob him into the net. It's really bad. Otero he's got a stinker of a game this game.
Tristan Heim, start polishing your gloves, my friend.
Man, that's sad.
I know. I was like, hey, we're back 2-2, and then I guess like father like son, right? Big lion, baby lion. We got to throw it all away. But this is a bad situation here.
Yeah, 3-2 now, Huntsville.
Yeah. Remember, guys, with OCB, it's not necessarily about the scoreline. It's how these guys play. It's how they react to being scored on. It's all that kind of stuff. Like right now, the big thing about tonight is a lot of the first team guys who are playing down have done well, which is exactly what they should be doing against this level of competition. That's what you would expect them to do. Again, I couldn't care.
Oh.
Yeah. So, Frankie, the reason they're starting center back as a U17 guy is because our change and
it was Shaq Mohammed who scored on him.
And Platts are both coming back from knee injuries, so they weren't fit to play this game. So that's why you're seeing the U17.
Shaq Mohammed cooked them.
Shaq Mohammed has 2 goals. He's come back with vengeance to say, AOCB, you should have given me that contract.
Shaq Mohammed he's a great second team player, but that's about as far as his reach is probably going to go.
Yeah, but he's punishing
man.
OCB for not giving him that contract.
Yeah, that's insane. Look at that. Wow. Oh man, can take another L, bro. Is this here? Why is there starting center back at U17, guys? Says Frankie. Someone needs to tell Griezmann the prestige of winning the League's Cup. Jeez.
More like the U.S. Open Cup. Prestige of winning the U.S. Open Cup.
Oh,
is
dear.
Messi suspended? No, he's not. He's eating ice cream right now. It says, put away your devil's advocate. Okay. It says, the devil has too many advocates. It's Frankie. Thank you. And it says, Marco and Ojeda are 25 and 27. I love how poised, mature, and level-headed our young stars are compared to 40-year-olds. Says Frankie Cosmos. Yeah. We have another pod. More than likely, I think we're doing the Pride Pod too, right, John?
Yep, we got Pride Pod and then Thursday preview for New York.
Yep.
Yeah, so Pride Pod coming up, and then we also have the preview for New York on Thursday.
Get your gloves ready, y'all. Going to the baseball pitch.
Yeah, so we're gonna be playing with a yellow kit, guys.
Everyone's favorite.
The sunken treasure. Hopefully, it's not like a jinx.
Yeah, sunken is the key word in that.
Yeah,
so far, that's what this season's
I don't
been.
I don't want to be a sunken treasure. Anything else you want to add before we go?
I just want to say, after the OCB game wraps, I'm hoping to have it out tonight, but it might be tomorrow. I'm going to do a write-up on the OCB game. Remember, guys, we're going to cover OCB all season. I feel really bad that I can't be there tonight. It looks like a pretty fun atmosphere for their opener. So, but I'll be following OCB all season. So I'll have a write-up on the game tonight. Kind of who I saw was great, who maybe needs some more time and opportunity. So looking forward to covering OCB this season. Should be pretty exciting.
Adriana Camarini says, let's bring a coach from Europe instead of Griezmann right now. We might be better off at this point.
Let's do both. Let's do both.
I mean, we could probably do both. Probably in the summer. But anyways, guys, thank you for your support. About 160 people live today. So amazing things. Obviously not the best positive pod, but, we got to get it out of our system, I'm gonna have a guest this weekend. Is a New York City FC insider and TikToker, first TikToker ever. I'll say hello to Lilibeth, my good friend. So she's gonna be with me talking about NYCFC and this week. And again, we appreciate you for tuning in every time and for checking us out. Don't forget to subscribe to John's channel, John Rollins TV on YouTube. Also David, to Zach's Fladular 18. And again, thank you guys for your support. We'll see you guys next week. Vamos Orlando. Have a good one, guys.